Okay. So Sherry Lynn will be giving tonight's Devar Torah. Sherry Lynn, would you like to start?
Okay. In the 10th generation after creation, people cheated on each other, were corrupt and wicked. They did not see themselves as being corrupt. It was just their normal way of living. God was displeased with all the lawlessness. Noah was a righteous man. He did what God asked him to do. God decided not to destroy the whole earth, only to rid the land of the corrupt people. God told Noah to build an ark and bring his family and pairs of animals into the ark. Noah brought vegetables onto the ark and stored them for food. After 40 days of rain, the water began to recede. After 150 days, a raven and a dove were sent out to look for dry land. When the dove returned with an olive branch in its beak, Noah knew that the water had greatly receded. When the inhabitants of the ark were able to go out onto the land, Noah sent his sons and their families to different places on earth to live and to repopulate the lands. God gave the people a second chance. How does God see us now? We see peace in some places in the world where people live together in harmony. Other places have experienced conflicts. Over time, we Jews have had a difficult history. Destruction of the temple in Jerusalem twice, the fall of Masada, the Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition, the Holocaust, and this is an incomplete short list. This year, Russia is trying to overtake Ukraine. Hamas wants to eradicate Israel. Today is not so different from when Noah lived. The world is filled with anti-Semites. Hate fills the hearts and minds of terrorists. Israelis live under threat of annihilation every day since May 1948. Will prayers help us? Who is listening? What should we do? What can God see when God looks at God's own creation, B'Tselem Elohim? Will there be another flood? God does not break promises. That's why we have the rainbow after the rain. We must continue to promote Judaism and Women's League. We stand for the best of humanity's values and virtues. We will never stop being our best. Never. May it be your will that our land will be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all people to dwell in friendship and freedom, speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore.
Amen.
Amen.
It
Thank you, Sherry Lynn.
You're welcome.
was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, very nice. So I hope that you saw that we are launching leadership workshops for the entire organization. We are calling the series Toolbox Talks. And I am happy to share, if you haven't noticed, that the first workshop will be on November 6th. It will be Practical Solutions for Sisterhood Challenges, led by Margie Miller. And this will be an opportunity for Margie to share answers to a lot of the questions that we hear, as well as affiliates who attend to pose questions, share situations that they're dealing with. December 4th, our topic will be Effective Leadership Beyond Titles, and this will include alternative permission structure presentation, and Debbie Lempert will be leading that discussion. And the balance of the topics are not final yet, because there are a couple of ideas that I am still exploring as alternatives, and I want the flexibility to be able to change them. So we are not announcing them as actual topics yet, but the dates for the other four will be February 5th, March 5th, May 7th, and June 4th. So that's a total of 6 workshops for anyone who is a Women's League member. Meryl Balaban, what a pleasure to see you.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
Feels good
snuck
to be,
in. You snuck
Yeah.
in.
feels good to be somewhat back.
How you
Yeah.
feeling?
And where are you at this point? Still in New Jersey?
Yeah, no, I'm home. I told them at rehab that I wanted to go home. So they discharged me, and I'm making progress. We started rehab at home here, and going slow, but slow and steady. And I didn't expect it to be as debilitating as it has been, but but here I am.
It's
Good to
wonderful
see
to
you.
have you.
Yeah,
Wonderful
thanks.
to have you back here.
Thanks.
Okay, great. So I just finished mentioning the toolbox talks that we will be offering, and I see there's a question, Debbie.
What did
Green.
you say the subject is of the first one?
Practical solutions for sisterhood challenges.
Thank you.
And we know there are certain challenges that come up all the time. And so especially for newer members who have never attended a conference, who have never attended a convention, who probably haven't seen a consultant, their affiliate hasn't had a relationship with a consultant, this is an opportunity for them to log in and come.
Yeah,
And of course, anyone who's been around for any length of time is also welcome. But I'm hoping that a bunch of members who haven't really been exposed to consulting services and what consulting services can offer will take advantage of this.
No, it sounds great. I just wanted to be able to write it down, so.
Okay, that's fine. So related to this is the question that I posed some time ago. I don't remember the exact date, but I asked if anyone had experience with MailChimp, because this was a question that came to us directly from an affiliate. And I heard from one person who's here on this Zoom, and that was kind of where it ended. So with that in mind, because this is a tool that some affiliates may like to use, I would like to familiarize you with what MailChimp is. So I'm going to share my screen. I would like a volunteer to be a co-host in case something happens when I go to share my screen and switch to the web. Renee, thank you very much. That's why you raised your hand, right? Okay, good. And see, I'm raising my hand.
Yes, yeah, just make me a co-host. I'll watch out.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let me. Okay, so if you were to just Google MailChimp, this is what you would see. You'd see start free trial, and then you see login. This is one of the reasons why I was really interested in being able to help this affiliate, because unlike Constant Contact, Emma, and the smorgasbord of other email platforms, MailChimp has a free service. It's limited. You can't get all the fancy templates and things, but you can actually build a database and you can actually create newsletters and standalone email messages. And for some affiliates, this might be a very effective tool in terms of communicating digitally. So I'm going to log back into where the templates are. Just bear with me here so I can get the new code.
Anise, excuse me, while you're doing that, it said free trial, like it was a temporary free account.
Yes, but you can make it a free account.
Okay,
That's because they're trying to bait you into a paid account. But you can create a free account, and that's what this is. Oh, shoot.
Username,
Oh,
email.
okay.
Yeah, and PSW used MailChimp originally when we started a database, and we used it for a number of years until Women's League went with the Constant Contact.
I started doing this stuff in Constant Contact for my region. The code is not coming. Where's the code? So when I created this account specifically to practice before I spoke with this sisterhood,
it's asking for your password, not the code.
I know, but it has to, oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right, and then you have to click the I'm not a robot.
Yes, thank you. Now it's going to give me the code.
Now it'll ask, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 392.
Which is why a lot of people don't like to use these platforms at all.
Correct. But one of the things that you can do as a workaround so that it's not set up to a phone and an SMS is to set it up to a generic Gmail account that several people have access to and may share so that they can get the code sent via email as opposed to by phone. And then you don't have the issues of when someone is wants to work at 2 a.m. and they don't want to bother their friend who's going to
Yeah.
get the code.
Some
So-
some don't allow email, they only do phone, but
I understand that, but I believe you have the option here.
that's
So
good.
as you can see here, it says, home, campaigns, automation, your audience, your analytics. So let's go to campaigns. And you can see I created something, it's untitled, but it actually was a demo that I did. And you can see here that you can put in text up here. You can import logos. Let's see. You can I made a box that said tutorial with Angela and Alberta. Now I can do tutorial. I didn't do this box perfectly, but you see that you can expand the box, you can put in you can change the fonts. As you can see, here is your library of fonts. I believe you can also add fonts in here if you want to expand upon it. You can change the size of your fonts. You can underline, you can make colors. I made this red, it's not good contrast. And then let's go back. You can add in paragraph blocks. You can add in dividers for sections. You can add in buttons.
Is that like click here? Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly. You add links. So this is, if anyone has experience with Constant Contact, as I said, it's very similar to Constant Contact. The tools are in different places, but it's very similar. I'm going to save and exit right now. Because here is where you would build in all the email addresses. So I have one email address in here. I'm going to add a contact. I'm going to add a single one. This person gave me permission. Add contact. I mean, you can put all the other information in, but I didn't do that. So now, let's see what happened here. Okay. So let's go back to contacts. Now I've got two, as you can see. You can import contacts as a group from a CVS file that you create from an Excel spreadsheet. So an entire affiliate may import all the email addresses they have in one fell swoop. And then they can create different groupings the same way we talk. I'm going to stop screen share now. The same way that we talk about affinity groups like the knitting group. I'll call on you in a minute, Marilyn. Affinity group, that's knitting, or Rosh Chodesh group, as well as do emails to everyone who's in the database. They can use this for a newsletter. They can use it for specific events. And this really comes home to me today because one of the affiliates that I'm on the mailing list of, they use Constant Contact, but they do exactly that. They do a monthly newsletter that comes out on Rosh Chodesh, and then for their events, they send out standalone emails, and they have various affinity groups that they invite people to be part of the one time, if they're not going to be part of the group permanently. When they have special programs and events, they send out e-blast. They have a link to the PayPal account that they use to collect the payments. It's very effective. Is this for all affiliates? No. But for those who are interested, for those who are digitally literate, this gives them an opportunity to reach their members in various ways, and it can be very, very useful. And as I said, what I find attractive about this is that they don't have to pay for it. So if they don't have the treasury, or they don't want to use that part of their treasury, Constant Contact can cost what, $250, $350, up to I think about $500, depending on how many email addresses are in your database. There's no charge for a limited use of MailChimp. Can you use every single template that they have a picture of? No, but they have about 5 or 6 free templates just for emails. So that's why I felt that this was worth kind of exploring a little bit with you and talking about and sharing that information. Marilyn.
Thanks, Denise. It's always good to have other options. So I have a couple of questions. First, I was wondering, you said that this affiliate was asking about, MailChimp. Did you reach out or did you ask them to reach out to our communications team with Esther?
Well,
My
I'm
first
glad you
question.
asked that question. I don't think I want that answer on the recording. So I will just say
Okay.
yes.
Okay, all right.
But there is a member of Women's League, an individual member of Women's League who has experience with MailChimp, and we actually did a tutorial for that affiliate, and it is posted to the website, and it is in consulting services as well as in communications. So anyone who's on this Zoom who would like to watch it, any affiliate you'd like to refer to it, you're more than welcome to see what we reviewed in that tutorial.
Okay, thank you. So that's the first question. The other question that I had is, did this affiliate within their congregation, was there anybody who did, besides MailChimp, like Constant Contact or something else, did they have the option of working like on the synagogue side with somebody who did this kind of thing that they could use?
So it's interesting that you would ask that question. That their synagogue uses MailChimp for the synagogue newsletter.
Okay.
And when they asked, could they be able to have access to do what they wanted to do, they were told no. So that's when they decided they would open up their own account, knowing that they could get a free account. And that's when they asked, was anyone here in Women's League able to help them? And as I said, I went in, fooled around a little bit. I saw I could get them started with some of the design stuff. And then I looked to see who else I could find within Women's League who could expand upon that. And we did it. And they're now practicing and doing what they want to do.
Okay, well, good job on taking care of them.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Renee.
All right. Ditto on thanking you for doing this and for exploring. I know we talked about it. Questions. Is there a maximum number of emails that you can use in the free account?
That's an excellent question, and I don't have the answer. But I'm
Okay.
sure we could Google and find out.
Okay. And then I noticed when you're inputting the names, there was someplace to tag. Is that to add what group they're in, or is that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Hello, Julia. So
Are you ready to
I'm-
go, Julia?
I am. I have to jump off, help on another Zoom
Are
No
you in
problem.
Israel?
problem, and I'll be right back. No, I'm leaving
No.
tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I wasn't sure if you're going to be here because of your trip.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks.
So the other topics that I wanted to explore was, we know that email is a very effective communications tool. We know a lot of affiliates do it, but in your experience, based on the conversations that you have with affiliates, do you find that affiliates are relying more on email and have forgotten about phone trees? Or do you hear that affiliates are actually using phone trees as a complement? Deb, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, from what I have experienced is, although there are some that will pick up the phone and call people, they are mostly relying on emails because people don't answer their phones, don't return phone calls. That's a big complaint. But the other huge complaint is that they don't read the emails either. And many of the things get lost at the bottom. It's, I mean, we've heard that before anyway. They're always looking for what's coming up next. And, like, what can I use? This worked before, this doesn't work now. And it's hard to come up with the answer to that, because I know I get dozens and dozens and dozens of emails every day. The same kind of emails that would get sent, in a women's league, and click, delete, 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 delete. So I understand their frustration. but I don't really have a solution. Another thing is there are some of the younger groups are moving towards text grouping and like with the WhatsApp groups, etc. It doesn't suit everybody, but I think that's the new the new mode of communication for some of the younger generation.
Sherry Lynn?
I was going to say some of the same things that Deb just said, that we've found just with phone calls, and we do try phone calls, especially for Twora Fund, to raise money and to contact people and encourage them to come to the program and all. And most people don't answer their phones anymore. And so we do have emails that go out, but we also have been sending text messages, and I think we've been getting more response from the text messages. Our sisterhood is very young. I'm very old in my sisterhood.
Do
So
you does your affiliate do individual or group text messages?
we broke up the list that I'm referring to, and each person had maybe 10 or 12 calls to make. So I don't know what each person did.
Okay,
But so some may have been group texts and some may have been individual texts.
thank you. Renee?
Yeah, I agree that the younger people are going to text messages, but I just wanted to address what you asked. You know, those group texts, they annoy the heck out of me because people answer them. And they answer them at all times of day and night. So, we just made phone calls for the holidays to thank people for being members and to tell them about upcoming programs. And we just left messages if people didn't pick up. So at least they know there was a contact. And hopefully, that's all you can do is hope that they'll read an email, listen to a voice message, or see something somewhere else.
Thank you. Iris?
Yeah, well, along the lines of why people are not answering, and I'm possibly one of those at times. Number one, my phone will tell me who's calling, or I can see it on my phone. That gives me the option. A lot of it is unnamed many times. I don't answer those for the most part. A lot of them are spam calls anyway. And I think people are inundated with all of these spam calls now too. So I really think that this is hurting why people don't want to answer phones anymore, or let it go to voicemail, or just, if not having the voicemail on, just let it go through and let them hang up. And I know that for me, if I think that it's interesting enough that I need to call back, I will. But sometimes I'm like a lot of other people too. There's so many that you get during the day.
Thank you. Marilyn?
But I think that what we need to keep in mind is that we really have to have a multimedia campaign when we're reaching out to whoever it is. Because, like Sherry Lynn said, she's like at one end, age group of her sisterhood, there's a lot of younger ones. So, what's going to work for what Sherry Lynn wants isn't necessarily what's going to work for the younger people. And so we really need to keep, that in mind, that it's not just trying to reach people through one method. We need to use several different methods.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Marilyn, because that's exactly what I was thinking of as I was posing the question. So often, information goes out via an email, and that's where it ends. And there's so much value in following up with, whether it's a text or a phone call, but one-on-one to members who would be interested, members who affiliates haven't seen in a while, to get them interested in coming. And I feel that it's really our responsibility to remind affiliates to use as many tools as they have and to use them regularly, and not expect the email that goes out is the be all and the end all. No comments? Agreement,
Agree.
disagreement? You see it's a few heads nodding. And do you hear complaints from affiliates that we just talked about the annoyance of certain modes of communication?
Well, there was a time, I'm sorry, I should have raised my hand.
That's okay.
There was the time not too long ago, I think we addressed this with Julia at some point, that the women were complaining that there was so much information that was coming out in one particular email or blast or whatever we call it, that it just became so confusing that they weren't even looking into the individual information pieces that were there. I think keeping it simple is basically, like we say, even with a poster or a flyer, the simpler it is with the information, the better than trying to read through a lot of stuff. And I think that's part of a possible problem with emails too, where they open an email and they might see so much rather than just date, time, we need you, we love you, come back to us, whatever. And I think this is something that we have to stress.
Meryl,
Yes, also, I think it's just as important to be aware of what you put on. I haven't had my voice back, of what you put on the subject line, because I know myself, you get, like we all said, we get 100 emails a day, and I'll go down and I'll read the subject line, and if the subject line doesn't resonate with me, I go through it. So you want it to drive home a message also. You want it to be meaningful on a subject line.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Meryl,
Oh, good.
because Presnet had a whole discussion on that in the beginning of the year. And there were certain tips given on how to make a subject line more readable, what kinds of words are an invitation for someone to click delete as opposed to open. So you are so on target with that. Also,
Good,
whether you
yeah.
use all capital letters or upper and lowercase or just the first initial, all of those, there were all sorts of tips and tricks to make the subject line an effective bait to open the email. Deb, Bruce.
I have been hearing from the affiliate presidents that they have been overwhelmed with Women's League emails. And, you say subscribe, and then a lot of the stuff gets lost. One of the suggestions that someone had that they do in their affiliate is they have someone, not the president who already has many things to do, but someone else who goes through these weekly emails and highlights in her own mind or highlights in her notes of what is in those emails. And then she gives her weekly report or bi-weekly report that's just more concise and more precise. There are certain things that she knows that her sisterhood or her affiliate members are interested in. If it's a Zoom program, or something that they, that's coming up soon that she knows to like highlight those things. That way she's reaching people who open up the affiliate emails, but don't necessarily open up the Women's League emails.
I'm glad you shared that, but I was really kind of interested in knowing if anyone heard from affiliates that they're being bombarded with emails from within their own communities, not specifically Women's League, but it's all good to know. Thank you. Phyllis.
One of the things that I think Women's League has been doing it a lot is listing at the very beginning of the email what's in it for those very long emails that have so many different things covered, and you can just click on the ones that you're interested in, go directly to them, and you don't have to go through everything. I think that's a really good way for people to know what's there, to see if there's something they're excited or interested in, but not have to scroll through pages of information. And also the links to go elsewhere to get information rather than having this monster email that shows up in your inbox.
Yes, thank you. And in the video from the MailChimp tutorial, there is a demonstration of how to do exactly that in the top of a newsletter, to load in the links at the top so people can jump all the way to
Yeah.
the section that they want to without having to scroll through the entire email. Julia.
Yeah, two things. I just want to say that Caleb, our communication specialist, is working very hard with Karen to redesign Women's League Week. So I hope you have noticed the changes. And I think it is a lot shorter, a lot easier to read by using more icons for programs instead of the whole description. But the other thing, Deb, it makes me really nervous when I hear that people are summarizing the newsletter or pulling out what they think is relevant, because we've fought the gatekeepers for so long. You know, so many sisterhood presidents. Well, you don't need everyone's email. I'll just forward the email when I think there's something that they might like. So it goes to
Yes, they
everyone.
are still getting the emails, so some people are interested, but I think that there's a point there that if they're not going to read it, at least you can tell them conventions coming up, check the flyer, or
That's true. And the biggest
Leadership
thing,
Institute, or
the biggest thing now for emails is that you need the email to register for programs. So
Exactly.
we want them all getting the information. And, I don't know. I mean, I think that 2 emails a week is really not a lot of emails. I get like 3 emails a day from Macy's, you know? So, and I could choose to unsubscribe, but I don't, because sometimes there's things I want to see. I want to see what's on sale. So,
But
but there's so
Julia-
many that come in every day. Like,
But Julia, retail therapy is not the same as Women's League. Yeah, I think you made a really good point, Julia, about the gatekeepers and trying to do a work around them. And I think that Women's League has made strides in that direction. But as we all know, there are still many gatekeepers, and it's a really hard sell to convince them that there is value in sharing the email addresses of all their members. And by now requiring that someone be signed up so that they can register for a program is also a step towards working around those gatekeepers who won't allow them to get information directly. So Phyllis, I was wondering if you would like to share any information with us about how nominations are going, since you're the direct line to regions and their nominations.
Looking at Renee on this call, I had a whole long list of stuff I wanted to talk to her before the new bylaw changes go into effect. I have lots of questions and concerns about how things are going to work with that, with the regions. I sent out a letter sort of interspersed among the holidays that I needed updates. I've heard from some of them. I am getting lots of questions, which makes me go back through last year's slates. And I can't tell you, this week I've probably gone through the 13 region bylaws at least 2 or 3 times to see what different regions are doing for different things in order to answer their questions. But they all seem, the ones I've heard from, and I keep saying every day I'm going to go nudge the ones that I'm not hearing from. So I know exactly. One nomination committee actually takes minutes of their committee meeting and sends them to me. And so it's really nice to know absolutely what they're doing and who they're contacting and what positions they've filled. But I think they're moving along. A lot of them had presidents in place the last time I contacted with them. I don't think they all do at this point. I've heard from a couple that don't. And it's a very interesting process. This is I guess the third time that I've done this, and it's different each time, the way that it falls out and how it gets handled. And I know that Women's League is working as hard as it can with the bylaw changes, but I start the process by talking to each one of the chairs separately, and those phone calls last from 30, 40 minutes to over an hour, depending upon how many questions they have right at the starting point. And it was very a problem for me not to be able to tell them, or know exactly what was going to be happening with decisions that they were going to have to make with the nominations, because we're waiting for the bylaw changes. But having given them a time way out in May that they don't have to worry about it, it's quieted that down a little. But I'm sure as soon as these bylaw changes are made known to everybody, the questions are, I've written a whole page of questions that I have, so I want answers before I have to deal with them about that. And it's lovely. I love working with the women. It's each region is different and how they go about it different. And every year the questions and the concerns are totally different. They're just new things that nobody ever asked before. That's makes the process interesting and challenging. And
Well,
if they
thank you
have
for
questions,
sharing.
I can't speak for the individual, regions. I don't tell anybody what I know, but it's coming. It's happening.
Well, thank you for sharing and thank you for what you're doing with working with the region nominating committees. Any other comments? Any other questions on the topic of communications? Yes, Meryl.
No, it was more on the nominating, on the bylaws. I obviously missed it while I was out and everything. But why are we changing the bylaws? At this point, it seems like we just changed them. So I was wondering if there's a reason that we're doing it.
Marilyn, would you like to answer?
Sure. So
Sorry, Marilyn.
we had a board of directors meeting there recently where we voted the next step is going to be the membership meeting that's coming on November 3rd, Julia. Congratulations, thank you. So I'll go back to the beginning, which was just about a year ago. In November, Julia held an exec retreat. And at the exec retreat, we worked on what we could do to help improve Women's League as an organization. How can we move us forward? What kind of changes can we make that would be beneficial? And one of the things that we worked on was to change the way the executive committee currently is, where there are 12 vice presidents and then currently like 8 appointees to the exec. And what we realized was that the appointees were the people who had more experience and were taking on very often larger portfolios. And the 12 vice presidents were newer to exec and in some cases had like a smaller role in terms of their portfolio. And we felt that it was be more beneficial to a president to have the more experienced people in the top portfolios. And by that, I mean like consulting services and region services, Torah fund, that type of thing. And of course, we always need our finance people too. So what we're voting on is to change the current makeup of the exec from the 12 VPs to have it be 5 VPs. And that when the nominating committee, the International Nominating Committee, is meeting, they will meet with potential people to fill these VP positions, and they will work with the incoming president to fill these and understand that they have to take one of these positions. We've had instances in the past sometimes where someone accepts a vice presidency and then doesn't want to really do a job that you would expect a vice president to do. So we're making a change in the number of vice presidents within the executive committee. And then we are also giving the president still the 8 appointments so that an incoming president, if every president has their own vision, every leader has their own vision. And so if someone wants to focus more on social action, they can make some appointments to exec that can do that. If someone wants to focus more on education, then they can make appointments that will do that. So we're changing the structure of the people within the executive committee. At the same time, we are also shrinking the Women's League board, the board of directors, making a smaller change, reducing it by maybe about a quarter from a number of positions. Then we are leaving the option for the president to have more appointments to the board, again, to fulfill any kind of vision she would want. So that's what is going to be voted on. And Renee, if you want to, or Julia, add anything else to, what I said. So it's a major change that we hope is going to, make our organization better. for the
So
future.
this reflects on the regions as they become officers. Is that, I'm just trying to figure out, why are the regions changing their bylaws?
Okay, the regions aren't changing their bylaws. What is happening is we are proposing, recommending that the number of region reps be changed, that everybody will have their region president as one of their reps, that the region Torah Fund vice president will automatically also be a rep on the board for the region, and that each region would have 2 additional nominees. And those are the people that Phyllis was talking about. And because that hasn't been passed yet, Phyllis hasn't been able to share that information yet with the regions. And I know it's frustrating to you, Phyllis, I'm sorry. But it's coming November 3rd. We'll have an answer.
Yeah, but that will require region bylaw changes.
No,
the
that's
region
not in
reps-
their,
It's
it's not in
it
their
will not
bylaws. They-
require region bylaw changes. This is only within the Women's League's bylaws that.
The region rep situation is not in their region bylaws?
No, because they're voted by Women's League, not by the regions. They're not elected by the regions.
So they're selected by the
They're
region.
elected by the regions, but not elected by the regions. So it's
Yes.
not a region bylaws change.
Deb
So
Bruce has
Renee
a
is
question.
talking about is we're kind of making the Women's League board more like a Senate and less like a House in terms of representation, where it's going to be equal representation throughout all the regions, which when we sat down and we actually looked to see how many people from the different regions, you take like a smaller region like North by Northwest, and Sandy is in, and then a larger BQLI, it turns out there really wasn't this huge difference between the number of representatives they had. So it's really not a major change in that way. But like I said, we're trying to move forward and do things that we hope will help the organization. Debbie? Deb?
Oh,
have a
part of my question was basically how does the region bylaws, what Marilyn was talking about didn't affect the region bylaws. That was my question. So you answered the question. I could have put my hand down.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm glad. Listen, I spent a couple years working on those region bylaws, so I'm very glad that we don't have to make those changes right now.
Thank
So
you,
it's important,
Marilyn
if you
and
haven't
Renee.
registered yet, please register and come and vote to approve these changes.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, Julia?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think like Marilyn said, this came out of the retreat as a way to make the organization run more smoothly and effectively.
Right.
And when we looked at the attendance of the members of the board, because we have about 150, 60 current members of the board, and we look at our meetings and we have maybe 60, 70 people on. And I understand this last one was during the day, so not everybody could attend. But when we looked at the people who regularly miss meetings, and we do actually have a you can't miss more than 3 meetings kind of thing, statement in the bylaws, but I don't think that's ever been enforced. But when we looked at the people who generally miss meetings, it turned out it was the region reps mostly that miss those meetings. So we want the region reps that we have on the board to be engaged. They should serve on committees. They should be invested in the work of Women's League and not just like have the title of Women's League board member.
Right. Thank you. I was just going to say that. And if I could also add to Julia's numbers, the number of 160 does not include past presidents, or past region presidents. Sorry, I was redundant, which adds also a number to the board. And they don't have voice and vote, but they are included in those number of attendees. So unless they're a chair or something, then they do have a voice and vote.
Thank you. So I think this is a good time to end our general discussion and move on to good and welfare. As was mentioned earlier, happy birthday in absentia to both Margie Miller and Sandy Berenbaum. I don't have any other good and welfare to add, but I'm opening it up to all of you if they have good and welfare to share. No good and welfare?
I'm leaving for Israel tomorrow for the World Zionist Congress. So after all the elections last spring, and finally today, I got an email with some of the resolutions that we're going to be talking about and the agenda. So, nothing like waiting till the last minute. And then when I get back on the 30th, the following weekend, not the next day, thankfully, but the following weekend, my son is getting married.
Wow.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Emin Tov and Mazel Tov. And safe travels.
Speaking
well-
of weddings, my husband and I have our 30th wedding anniversary next week.
Mazel tov.
Anniversary.
And I will share with everyone here because you know her, Limor Wasserman's daughter was married last week, so Mazel tov
Yeah.
to the Wassermans. Any other good and welfare?
Well, I can say, if you can, the hostages may be home, but if you can still continue to pray for peace in Israel. My son-in-law is still in the army and he's told about 100 days and he's only been in since Yom Kippur. So, so he's up near the Lebanese border right now, but if you could continue to pray for the soldiers and the families.
Yes.
I took my dog tag and put it on my Hamsa wall, hung it with all my Hamsas.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I'm gonna end the recording now.